Did Nelson Aguilar get you a 0 this week? Me too. So let's talk about receivers. Week 5, man, fantasy football. A lot of us are either 2-2 or 1-3, and we need wins desperately to stay in that playoff race. So let's see who we should and should not start at the receiver position. But before that, what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know so, go ahead, give me a thumbs up if you enjoy the content, and go ahead and subscribe. It's much appreciated, much obliged. I got a 2020 7-round NFL mock draft coming. So be on the look for that. Comes out in 2 weeks. I'm very excited. You should be excited as well. Without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's talk about the Thursday night game. We got the Rams. We have the Seahawks. I got Tyler Lockett as a start. They're facing a tough task when it comes to that Rams secondary. Granted, their secondary got destroyed, dismantled last week, but they should be better. They're 13th against opposing receivers, and Lockett is the most targeted receiver on that offense. DK Metcalf, he only had 1 reception last week. I mean, this game might be game scripted oriented. They might run the ball heavy, so I won't risk it. Cooper Kupp, he's a start. He is the favorite receiver on that team, full of just studs. But he is definitely the favorite receiver. The fewest targets he's seen this year has been 9. So I think he's a good start. Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, I got him as starts. It's a risk. It's a risk you're gonna have to take. One of these guys, actually both these guys may go off, or maybe just one of them. Last week it happened to be Robert Woods, so it's worth the risk. You don't know who will produce in that Rams offense. On to the next game, we got Cardinals versus the Bengals. Larry Fitzgerald, he's seen 5 or more targets. They got a tough task ahead of them against the Bengals defense, but the Bengals have been pretty good against opposing receivers. They rank 7th. But like I said, he gets the opportunities. I like Fitz. Christian Kirk, he's literally seen the same amount of targets as Fitzgerald, so I'm cool with him as a start. Tyler Boyd, they're facing the 8th best defense when it comes to opposing receivers. It's wild. These teams, they get beat through the air, but it's typically because of the tight end position. Start the tight ends on both these teams. Oh wait, Arizona doesn't have a tight end. Oh well. But Boyd, he's seen 6 or more targets in every game. Andy Dalton's passing the ball like no other. He's a good start. As far as Tate, he might be a sneaky play this week. He looks like he is second in this offense, like the second target. Granted, this is against the Cardinals, so they might target Tyler Eifert a ton. But like I said, this guy, he might be a sneaky play in deeper leagues. My sit is John Ross. He might be hurt. I think he's going to be out a few weeks anyway, but his targets have been getting fewer and fewer anyway. So, yeah, he's a sit. We got the Bills versus the Titans. Only guy I like in this game is Cole Beasley. He is a PPR machine. The guy's seen a lot of targets. He's gotten a lot of receptions. I like him even if Barkley is the quarterback. Everyone else in this game is a sit. John Brown, they face a tough defense. They're 9th against opposing receivers. And, I mean, he only converted 5... 3, 2, 1. And he only had 5 catches of 11 targets last week against New England. Zay Jones, this whole season, he has 7 catches on 18 targets. Irrelevant. And I just don't want to pick who Marcus Mariota's favorite target's going to be this week between Corey Davis, A.J. Brown, and Adam Humphries. I don't want to play that game. So feel free to. I would definitely weigh Corey Davis, I think. A.J. Brown is the bigger play threat, but Corey Davis looks like he gets a good amount of, or he's going to get a majority of the targets there. Just not necessarily do anything with them. We got the Bears versus the Raiders. I got my start, Allen Robinson. They're facing a defense that doesn't do well against opposing receivers. And despite Mitch Trubisky exiting last game, he still saw 7 targets and turned them into 7 receptions. I still think Robinson's a viable option. Tyrell Williams, he's Carr's favorite target that's not Darren Waller. So I like it. I like it. They're gonna have to pass to stay in this game. It's gonna be a tough game for Derek Carr. Everyone else is a sit. Taylor Gabriel, don't know if he's healthy. Even if he is, I don't like it. Anthony Miller, he's seen no opportunity this year at all. Trevor Davis, the only reason he had a good fantasy score last week is because he scored on a gimmick Russian play. So I don't like it. We got Buccaneers versus the Saints. Michael Thomas, man. They're facing a team that is so-so. And by so-so, I mean they're near bottom of the league against opposing receivers. You saw nine targets. I'm not worried with Teddy Bridgewater as a quarterback. It's not hurting Michael Thomas's production. And Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. I mean, I think they're literally ranked 3 and 4 this season at receiver. And I mean, just looking at they have 44 receptions combined out of 68 targets. They're really the only receiving threat in this offense. Teddy Ginn Jr., he's irrelevant right now because of his quarterback. On to the next game. We got the Vikings. We got the Giants. Adam Thielen, I feel it in my heart, my soul, after what he said, what he did to Kirk Cousins, that he's going to come back with vengeance. I think Kirk Cousins is going to show Thielen a lot of love. So this is just me. Trying to perceive something, but I mean, Adam Thielen honestly should have had a touchdown last week anyway. Just Kirk Cousins missed him on a long TD. So I don't know. I like Thielen this week. Golden Tate, I think he'll end up being Jones's favorite target. The Vikings, they're 17th, so they're so-so against opposing receivers. I think he's going to take a lot of the snaps away in the slot from Shepard, but I don't think that'll necessarily hurt Shepard's production. I like them in this game. I think they're gonna. Yeah, I like both these guys in this game. And then as far as Stephon Diggs, it kind of goes on with what I said about Thielen. I think Thielen's going to be heavily targeted. I'm a little hesitant with Diggs. I mean, he's only really produced in one game this year, and I know this is a good matchup, but man, I don't know. I'd rather just wait and see with Stephon Diggs. He hasn't played well at all this year. Not necessarily he hasn't played well at all. He just hasn't been targeted much this year. And onto the Jets, onto the Eagles. Jamison Crowder. This is only if Darnold suits up and plays this game. I like Jamison Crowder as a start. We saw how heavily targeted he was in week 1. The Eagles are last when it comes to letting opposing receivers score. I like Jamison Crowder as a PPR option only. I don't know why I said it like that. PPR. It's weird. Alshon Jeffrey, he's a start. Wentz loves Jeffrey. The Jets, they're 30th against opposing receivers. It's a good matchup. Robbie Anderson, I'll believe it when I see it. He's a sit. I like him a little better if Darnold is back, but not enough to start yet. I don't think Jackson will be healthy this week. And then Nelson Aguilar, man, I talked about him at the beginning of the video. His floor, it's just too risky. It's too risky. I don't like it. And then Jackson should be back, if not this week, in the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, I'm dropping Nelson Aguilar for my team. So we got Baltimore and the Steelers. Oh, wow, man. I like JuJu. I still like JuJu. I think JuJu he has to eventually get his, right? Right? But in the meantime, Diontae Johnson's a monster, man. I liked him coming out of college. I thought he was a perfect fit for the Steelers. And now JuJu's taken all that attention away, and it's letting Johnson do some work. This is not exactly, but this is like what happened with Antonio Brown last year. Teams, they chose to cover him over JuJu, and JuJu just mollywopped opposing defenses. So I like both guys in this game. And the Ravens, they're only 21st against opposing receivers. Marquise Brown, he hasn't scored a lot since week 1, but he's seeing the targets. The Steelers are 23rd against opposing receivers. He's got a lot of big play potential, so it's a bit of a risky play, but there's a lot of upside to be had with that. And then as far as Willie Snead and Miles Boykins, they're touchdown dependent. They're sits. And let's talk about Patriots versus the Redskins. Honestly, if your name's not Terry McLaurin, I want no part of you. He's the only guy I trust to produce for the Redskins. Julian Edelman, I'm not worried at all about his production. They face one of the worst teams against opposing receivers. He's a good start. With Josh Gordon and Philip Dorsett, I really only feel like one of them will have a good day and the other won't. I would favor Gordon in this matchup, but it could go either or. Jaguars versus the Panthers. DJ Moore, man. I don't think Kyle Allen's hurting his production. He's not necessarily seeing a lot of targets, but key little stat here. Allen is the highest graded quarterback when it comes to passes of 10 yards or more. What is DJ Moore? A deep threat machine. I like him in this matchup against Jaguars. They're 25th against opposing receivers, and likely without Jalen Ramsey. Curtis Samuel, he's seen 4 targets in the last 2 weeks. He's gotten 8 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown, all with Allen under center. I think he's a good option. D.D. Westbrook, man, where have you been my whole life? I thought the minute Minshew became the starting quarterback, I thought it was RIP D.D. Westbrook, man. He has 15 targets in the last 2 games. He might be back. Granted, this is a tough matchup, but I like him. And then DJ Chark, man, 8 targets. He's still the favorite target of Minshew. He is kind of reliant on the big play, but I think I like him. I like him in this matchup. Maybe it's just because I like Uncle Rico. Who knows? But we got the Falcons versus the Texans in another game where I like everybody. I like everybody and their mom. But I like Julio Jones. The Texans are 24th against opposing receivers. I mean, and given where you probably drafted him, he's a must start. Anyway, same goes with DeAndre Hopkins. Same rule, where you draft him, he's a must start. He's a star receiver. He's bound to produce eventually. But Mohamed Sanu, man, he is seeing more targets than Calvin Ridley. I remember last year, Ridley, man, he was really good at the beginning of the year, but then it was just kind of a roller coaster. And we're kind of getting that right now. Yeah, and he's not a big play threat, Sanu, but he can be a PPR machine. He's going to see a lot of targets. He's going to catch a lot of passes. But I still like Ridley in this matchup because Houston, I just said they were 24th against opposing receivers. Oh man, I think this is it's a good matchup and a good game for him to get back on track. If Stills is healthy, I think Stills is a good start here. He is the bigger threat between him and Will Fuller. If Stills does not start, I like Will Fuller in this matchup. Kiki QT, man, I remember I was so hyped up about Kiki in the offseason. Oh man, even when he got playing time in the last game when Stills got hurt, Deshaun Watson still didn't look to him. Man, I'm sorry, QT. Let's go talk about the Broncos versus the Chargers. Emmanuel Sanders and Courtland Sutton, they're a dangerous duo right now. I know the Chargers are pretty decent against the pass. They're 14th, but this might be a pass-heavy game plan because they're really good against opposing running backs too, and they might find themselves behind early. So I think both these guys, Flacco, he can sustain both these guys' fantasy value, and Sutton, I think he's seeing a lot less attention compared to Emmanuel Sanders. So I like him in this matchup. Keenan Allen, he's the only reliable option, and he's the only healthy option for the Chargers. So yeah, I like him in this matchup despite Denver being third against opposing receivers. Sean Hamilton, he's a sit. He's kind of the third wheel, the awkward third wheel. He's getting no attention, no love. Packers versus the Cowboys. Devontae Adams, monster game, faces a tough Cowboys defense. Cowboys secondary, man. They're fourth against opposing receivers, but it looks like he might not be healthy for this game, so keep an eye on that. MVS and Geronimo Allen. If Devontae Adams is hurt, these guys get a huge huge increase to their stock, a huge boost. Either or, both these can be starts. I kind of lean towards Geronimo. Amari Cooper, Randall Cobb. They're facing, it's a sneakily, both these teams, I say sneakily, but they have very good defenses. It's just wild. The Packers, they're first against opposing receivers, but I think Cooper and Cobb, they're good PPR options, but they're flex only options this week. And then we got the Sunday night game, Colts versus the Chiefs. Oh man, honestly, let's talk about, it's gonna be easier talking about the Chiefs receivers. So Sammy Watkins, you're a start. Demarcus Robinson, you're a start. He's clearly the number 2 target there at receiver. And I got McCole Hardman as a sit. He just doesn't get enough of the share there. That sucks, but it is what it is. T.Y. Hilton, if healthy, he's a start. The Chiefs are 19th against opposing receivers. It's a good start. But if he is not good to go, Zach Pascal gets a big increase to his stock for this game because they're going to have to pass to stay in this game. So I like him there. But I have Chester, Rogers, and Paris Campbell as sits. Because, I mean, if Hilton is healthy, and then yes, no way these guys should start. But it looks like Pascal has the better upside. And I guess it looks like the better rapport with Brissett. So I like Pascal. I don't like Rogers or Campbell. And for this Monday night game, we got Cleveland versus the 49ers. Interesting. If Landry is not good to go, then yeah, you pretty much have to start OBJ. He hasn't really seen much. He hasn't really produced quite that well this year, but he'll be the only target for Baker Mayfield if Landry isn't good to go. And as far as Landry, though, if he is, he's been more productive and more targeted than OBJ. So Landry's starting to become a sexy pick there at Cleveland. And I got basically the whole receiving core for the 49ers as sits. I don't trust Deebo Samuels. I don't trust Diontae Pettis. I don't trust Marquise Goodwin. The Browns, they're in the middle of the pack as far as points they give up to receivers. So, I mean, yeah, we know this team likes to run the ball. They'll give 3 to 4 running backs 10 to 20 carries. Oh, not that much, but yeah, man, it sucks, man. I was really high on Dante Pettis and Deebo Samuel. Not to say they're bad players. They're not. They're not bad players. They're just not getting opportunities. And fantasy football, it's all about opportunity and probability. And let me tell you, there ain't none in that receiving core. That's it for the video. Hopefully I was able to help you out, guide you on your way to a fantasy football championship. Is it a little early to be talking that way? I don't think so. So until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.